Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna, Pandaka Priya Prabhu, Padmavalini Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Maitri Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you so much. Bhaktika Mataji, Jagannath Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Tarisina Mataji and Advaita Pranam Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you so much for joining. So let us begin our session. Om Ajnanathimirantasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmritam Vyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Prabhavete Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namini Gunatise Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are reading Canto number 4, chapter 25, the characteristics of the King Puranjana is an allegorical story of a living entity. So we have seen text till text number 32. We have completed. So where we have seen Narada's mercy on the Prachina Parikesa. Narada narrated the story of Puranjana. This is an allegorical story that begins. And we have seen the beautiful woman by name Puranjani becomes Puranjana's queen. Just like how we have Puranjana got attracted, and Puranjana inquires who she was, whether she is a celestial being or what. Who are you? And he asks to join with him. Later, what happens? We'll see. Let me share. Hare Krishna, Padmamalini Mataji, next number 30.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation. The girl said, O best of human beings, I do not know who has begotten me. I cannot speak to you perfectly about this, nor do I know the names or the origin of the associates with me. Purport. The living entity is ignorant of his origin. He does not know why this material world was created, why others are working in this material world, and what the ultimate source of this manifestation is. No one knows the answer to the questions, and this is called ignorance. By researching into the origin of life, important scientists are finding some chemical compositions or cellular combinations, but actually no one knows the original source of life within this material world. The phrase Brahma Jigyasa is used to indicate an inquisitiveness to know the original source of our existence in this material world. No philosopher, scientist, or politician actually knows where from we have come, why we are struggling so hard for existence, and where we will go. Generally, people are of the opinion that we are all here accidentally, and that as soon as these bodies are finished, all our dramatic activities will be finished and we will become zero. Such scientists and philosophers are impersonalist and voidist. In this verse, the girl is expressing the actual position of the living entity, that she cannot tell Puranjana her father's name because she does not know from where she has come, nor does she know why she is present in that place. She frankly says that she does not know anything about all this. This is the position of the living entity in the material world. There are so many scientists, philosophers, and big leaders, but they do not know where from they have come, nor do they know why they are busy within this material world to obtain a position of so-called happiness. In this material world, we have many nice facilities for living, but we are so foolish that we do not ask who has made this material habitable for us and has arranged it so nicely. Everything is functioning in order, but people foolishly think that they are produced by chance in this material world and that after death they will become zero. They think that this beautiful place of habitation will automatically remain. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, partner.
Hare Krishna Guruji. Translation: O great hero, we only know that we are existing in this place. We do not know what will come after. Indeed, we are so foolish that we do not care to understand who has created this beautiful place for our residence. Purport. The lack of Krishna consciousness is called ignorance. In Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5, it is called Pravasya Tabad Abodha Jataha. Everyone is born ignorant. The Bhagavatam therefore says that we are all born ignorant within this material world. In our ignorance, we may create nationalism, philanthropy, internationalism, science, philosophy, and so many other things. The basic principle behind all this is ignorance. What then is the value of all this advancement of knowledge if the basic principle is ignorance? Unless a person comes to Krishna consciousness, all of his activities are defeated. This human form of life is especially meant to dissipate ignorance, but without understanding how to dissipate ignorance, people are planning and building many things after death. However, all of this is finished. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Michael Vasi, text number 35.
Hare Krishna. My dear gentlemen, all these men and women with me are known as my friends and the snakes who always remain aware, protect this city even during my sleeping hours. So much I know, I do not know anything beyond this. Puranjana inquired from the woman about those 11 men and their views and the snake. The woman gave a brief description of them. She was obviously without full knowledge of her surroundings, men and women, and the snake. As stated before, the snake in the vital forms of the living beings, the vital force always remain aware even when the body and the sense become fractured and do no work. Even in the state of unconsciousness, when we sleep, the snake or the life force remains instant and awake. Consequently, we dream when we sleep. When the living entity gives up this material body, the vital force still remains instant and is carried to another material body. That is all transmutations or change of the body, and we have come to know this process as death. Actually, there is no death. The vital force always exists with the soul, and when the soul is awaked from called sleep, he can see these 11 friends or active sense and the mind with their various desires, views. The vital life force remains. Even during our sleeping hours, we can understand by virtue of our breathing process that the snake lives by eating the air that passes within this body. Air is exhibited in the form of breath, and as long as the breath is there, no one understands that a sleeping man is alive. Even when the gross body is asleep, then vital force remains active and living to protect the body. Thus, the snake is described as living and eating air to keep the body fit for the life.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Muslim, number 36.
Hare Krishna. Translation: O killer of the enemy, you have somehow or other come here. This is certainly great fortune for me. I wish all auspicious things for you. You have a great desire to satisfy your senses and all my friends, and I shall try our best in all respects to fulfill your desires. But the living entity comes down into this material world for sense gratification, and his intelligence, represented by the woman, gives him the proper direction by which he can satisfy his senses to their best capacity. In actuality, however, intelligence comes from the super soul or the supreme personality of Godhead. He gives full facility to the living entity who has come down to this material world, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 2.41. व्यवसायात्मिक बुद्धि एकेह कुरुनंदन बहुसखाय अंतश्च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनः. Those who are on the spiritual path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. When a devotee is advancing towards spiritual realization, his only aim is the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He does not care for any other material or spiritual activity. King Puranjana represents the ordinary living entity, and the woman represents the ordinary living entity's intelligence. Combined, the living entity enjoys his material senses, and the intelligence supplies all paraphernalia for his enjoyment. As soon as he enters the human form, the living entity is entrapped by family tradition, nationality, customs, etc. These are all supplied by the Maya of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, the living entity under the bodily conception of life utilizes his intelligence to his best capacity in order to satisfy his senses. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sagat Babu, text number 37.
Hare Krishna. My dear Lord, I have just arranged this city of 9 gates for you so that you can have all kind of sense gratification. You may live here for 100 years and everything for your sense gratification will be supplied. Brahmata Kama Mokshayam Dara Samprati Etavaha. The wife is the sense of all kinds of success in religion, economic development, sense gratification, and ultimately salvation. When one accepts a wife, it is to be understood that he is being helped in this progressive march towards liberation. In the beginning of life, a person is trained as a brahmachari and then allowed to marry a suitable girl and become a householder. If one is thoroughly trained in household life, he finds all facilities of human life: eating, sleeping, mating, and depending. Everything is there if it is executed according to regulative principles.
Hare Krishna,
Shall we-
Mautika Mataji, text number 30.
Hare Krishna. How can I expect to unite with others who are neither conversant about sex nor capable of knowing how to enjoy life while living or after death? Such foolish persons are like animals because they do not know how the process of sense enjoyment in this life and after death purport. Since there are 84 lakh species of life, there are also many different living conditions in the lower grades of life in plant and tree life. There is no system for sexual intercourse. In upper grades, in the life of birds and bees, there is sex, but the insects and animals do not know how to actually enjoy life. In human form of life, however, there is full knowledge of how to enjoy sex. Indeed, there are many so-called philosophers who give directions on how to enjoy sex life. There is even a science called Kama Shastra, which is the science of sex. In human life, there are also such divisions as Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. There is no sex life except in Grihastha or householder ashrama. The Brahmachari is not allowed to have any sex. A Vanaprastha voluntarily refrains, and the sannyasi is completely renounced. The karmis do not practice brahmacharya, vanaprastha or sannyasa life, for they are very much interested in grihastha life. In other words, a human being is very much interested in and materially inclined. Indeed, all living entities are materially inclined. They prefer grihastha life because there is a concession for sex. The karmis think the other statuses of life are worse than animal life, for animals also have sex, whereas the brahmachari, vanaprastha and sannyasi completely give up. The karmis therefore abhor these orders of spiritual life.
Hare Krishna, Jagannath Babu, text number 39, first paragraph.
Hare Krishna translation. The woman continued, In this material world, a householder life brings all kinds of happiness in religion, economic development, sense gratification, and begetting of children, sons and grandsons. After that, one may desire liberation as well as material reputation. The householder can appreciate in the result of sacrifice which enabled him to gain promotion to superior planetary system. All this material happiness is practically unknown to transcendentalists. They cannot even imagine such happiness purpose. According to Vedic instructions, there are two parts of human activities. One is called Pravatti Marga, and the other one is called Nivritti Marga. The basic principle of either of these parts is religion life. In animal life, there is only Pravatti Marga. Pravatti Marga means sense enjoyment, and Nivritti Marga means spiritual advancement. In this life of animals and demons, there is no conception of Nivritti Marga, nor is there any actual conception of Pravatti Marga. Pravatti Marga maintains that even though one has to opportunity propensity for sense gratification, he can gratify his sense according to these directions of the Vedic injunctions. For example, everyone has the opportunity for sex life, but in domestic civilization, sex is enjoyed without restriction. According to Vedic culture, sex is enjoyed under Vedic instruction. Thus, the Vedas given direction to civilize human being to enable them to satisfy their propensities for sense gratification. Hare Krishna.
Correct. Hare Krishna, Saraswati Mataji. 2 paragraphs.
Hare Krishna. In the Nivritti Marga, however, on the path of transcendental realization, sex is completely forbidden. The social orders are divided into 4 parts: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. And only in the householder life can the Pravritti Marga
be encouraged or accepted according to Vedic instructions. In the orders of Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, there are no facilities for sex. In this verse, the woman is advocating Pravritti Marga only and is discouraging the path of Nivritti Marga. She clearly says that the yatis, the transcendentalists who are concerned only with the spiritual life, Kaivalya, cannot imagine the happiness of Pravritti Marga. In other words, the man who follows the Vedic principles enjoys the materialistic way of life not only by becoming happy in this life but also in the next life by being promoted to the heavenly planets. In this life, such a person gets all kinds of material opulences such as sons and grandsons because he is always engaged in various religious functions. The material distresses are birth, old age, disease and death, but those who are interested in Pravritti Marga holds various religious functions at the time of birth, old age, disease and death. Without caring for the distresses of birth, old age, disease and death, they are addicted to performing the special functions according to Vedic ritualistic ceremonies.
Correct. Hare Krishna, Saraswati Mataji, can you read?
Yes, I can. So actually, however, Pravritti Marga is based on sex life. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.45, Yan Maitunadi Grahamedi Sukham Hi Tucham. A householder who is too much addicted to Pravritti Marga is actually called a Grihamedi, not a Grihastha. Although the Grihastha desires sense gratification, he acts according to Vedic instructions. The Grihamedi, however, who is interested only in sense gratification, does not follow any Vedic instruction. The Grihamedi engages himself as an advocate of sex life and also allows his sons and daughters to engage in sex and to be deprived of any glorious end in life. A Grihastha enjoys sex life in this life as well as in the next, but a Grihamedi does not know what what the next life is about because he's simply interested in sex life in this life. On the whole, when one is too much inclined towards sex, he does not care for the transcendental spiritual life. In this age of Kali especially, no one is interested in spiritual advancement. Even though it is sometimes found that one may be interested in spiritual advancement, he is most likely to accept a bogus method of spiritual life, being misguided by so many pretenders. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Padmavali Mataji, text number 40.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. The woman continued, according to authorities, the householder life is pleasing not only to oneself, but to all the forefathers, demigods, great sages, saintly persons, and everyone else. A householder life is thus beneficial. Purport. According to the Vedic system, when one is born in this material world, he has many obligations. He has obligations to the demigods of the sun and moon, King Indra, Varuna, etc. Because they are supplying the necessities of life. We receive that heat, light, water, and all other natural amenities through the mercy of the demigods. We are also indebted to our forefathers who have given us these bodies. Paternal property, intelligence, society, friendship, and love. Similarly, we are indebted to the general public for politics and sociology. And we are also indebted to lower animals such as horses, cows, asses, dogs, and cats. In this way, as soon as one is born in this material world as a human being, he has so many obligations and is bound to repay all these obligations. If does not repay them, he is further entangled in the process of birth and death. The Grimedi, however, who is overly addicted to material things, does not know if he simply takes shelter at the lotus feet of Mukunda, he is immediately freed from all obligations to others. Unfortunately, a Grimedi does not have any interest in Krishna consciousness. Prahlada Maharaj says, Hare Krishna.
You can continue.
नहीं पढ़ ले मतिर्न कृष्ण
मतिर्न कृष्ण प्रतः स्वतो वा मिथो विपद्यता गृहावर्तनम. A Grihavarta is the same as Grimedi, one who takes sex life to be supreme, finds actions in Krishna consciousness confusing, either due to his own personal consideration to or due to his having taken instructions from other or conferring with them. He becomes addicted to sexual indulgence and cannot act in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pandit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Oh my dear hero, who in this world will not accept a husband like you? You are so famous, so magnanimous, so beautiful, and so easily gotten. But every husband is certainly a great hero to his wife. In other words, if a woman loves a man, that man appears very beautiful and magnanimous. Unless one becomes beautiful in the eyes of another, one cannot dedicate his whole life to another. The husband is considered very magnanimous because he gives as many children to the wife as he likes. Every woman is fond of children. Therefore, any husband who can please his wife by sex and give her children is considered very magnanimous. Not only does the husband becomes magnanimous by begetting children, but by giving his wife ornaments, nice food, and dresses. He keeps her completely under submission. Such a satisfied wife will never give up the company of her husband. Manu Samhita recommends that to keep a wife satisfied, a husband should give her some ornaments because women are generally fond of home ornaments, dresses, children, etc. In this way, the woman is the center of all material enjoyment. In this regard, the word Vikyatma is very significant. A man is always famous for his aggression towards beautiful women, and such aggression is sometimes considered rape. Although rape is not legally allowed, it is a fact that a woman likes a man who is very expert at rape. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Maitri Mataji, text number 42. Paragraph.
Hare Krishna, who mighty armed, who in this world will not be attracted by your arms, which are just like the body of a sprinter. Actually, you are relieved the distress of husbandless women like us by our attractive smile and your aggressive mercy. We think that you are traveling on the surface of the earth just to benefit us only. But when a husbandless woman is attracted by an aggressive man, she takes his action to be mercy. A woman is generally very much attracted by a man long arms. A spent body is round and it becomes narrow, nerved and thinking at the end. The beautiful arms of a man appears to be a woman just like an sprint, and she never even much desire to be embraced by such arms. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sagar, go next paragraph.
Hare Krishna. The word Antavarga is very significant in this verse. Natha means husband, and a means without. A young woman who has no husband is called Anatha, meaning one who is not protected. As soon as a woman attains the age of puberty, she immediately becomes a very much agitated by sexual desire. It is therefore the duty of the father to give his daughter married before she attains puberty. Otherwise, she will be very much mortified by not having a husband. Anyone who satisfies her desire of sex at that age becomes a great object of satisfaction. It is a psychological fact that when a woman at the age of puberty meets a man and the man satisfies her sexually, she will love that man for the rest of the life, regardless who is he. This is called love within the material world is nothing but sexual satisfaction. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pushkala, text number 40.
Hare Krishna, text 43 translation. The great sage Narada continued, my dear king, those two, the man and the woman supporting one another through mutual understanding, entered that city and enjoyed life for 100 years. Purport: 100 years is significant in this connection because every human being is given the concession to live up to 100 years. The span of a life is different on different planets according to the planet's distance from the sun. In other words, 100 years on this planet is different from 100 years on another planet. Lord Brahma lives for 100 years according to time on the Brahmaloka planet. But one day of Brahma is equal to millions of years on this planet. Similarly, the days on the heavenly planets are equal to 6 months on this planet. On every planet, however, the span of life for a human being is roughly 100 years. According to the lifespans on different planets, the standards of living also differ. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mautike Mataji, text number 44.
Hare Krishna. Many professional singers used to sing about glories of King Puranjana and his glorious activities. When it was too hot in summer, he used to enter a reservoir of water. He would surround himself with many women and enjoy their company. Purport: a living being has different activities in different stages of life. One stage is called Jagrata, or the life of awakening, and another is called Swapna, or the life of dream. Another stage is called Susputi, or life in an unconscious state, and still another state occurs after death. In previous verse, the life of awakening was described. That is, the man and the woman were married and enjoyed life for 100 years. In this verse, life in the dream state is described for the activities Puranjana accomplished during the day, were also reflected at night in the dream state. Puranjana used to live with his wife for sense enjoyment, and at night, this very sense enjoyment was appreciated in different ways. A man sleeps very soundly when he is greatly fatigued, and when a rich man is greatly fatigued, he goes to his garden house with many female friends and there enters the waters and enjoys their company. Such is the tendency of living entity within his material world. A living entity is never satisfied with a woman unless he is trained in the system of brahmacharya. Generally, a man's tendency is to enjoy many women, and even at the very end of the old, he still wants to enjoy the company of young girls. Thus, because of this strong impulse, the living entity becomes more and more involved in this material world.
Right. Hare Krishna Jagannath. 45.
Hare Krishna translation. Of the 9 gates in the city, 7 were on the surface and 2 were subterranean. A total 9 doors were constructed and these led to different places. All these gates were used by the city governor. Purport. The 7 gates of the body that are situated upward are 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. The 2 subterranean gates are the rectum and the genitals. The king or the ruler of the body, who is the living entity, uses all these doors to enjoy different types of material pleasure. The system of opening different gates to different places is still evident in old Indian cities. Fortunately, its capital was surrounded by walls, and one passed through various gates to go to various cities or towns towards specific directions. In old Delhi, there are still remnants of surrounding walls and various gates known as the Kashmiri Gate, the Lahore Gate, etc. Similarly, in Ahmedabad, there is Ahmedabad surrounding walls. Ahmedabad, there is a Delhi Gate. The point of this is similar. Is that living entity wants to enjoy different types of material opulences, and to the end nature has given him various holes in his body that he can utilize for sense enjoyment.
Hare Krishna Saraswati Mataji, number 46.
Hare Krishna. Translation. My dear king, of the 9 doors, 5 led towards the eastern side, 1 led toward the northern side, 1 led toward the southern side, and 2 led toward the western side. I shall try to give the names of these different doors. Purport. One of the 7 doors on the surface, namely the 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, and 1 mouth, 5 look forward, and these are described as the doors facing the eastern side. Since looking forward means seeing the sun, these are described as the eastern gates, for the sun rises in the east. The gate on the northern side and the gate on the southern side represent the 2 ears, and the 2 gates facing the western side represent the rectum and the genitals. All the doors and gates are described below. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Advaita Prana Prabhu, number 46.
He just got into an office call.
Okay, I will finish this. The 2 gates named Khadyota and Avirmukhi were situated facing the eastern side, but they were constructed in one place. Then through these 9 gates, through 2 gates, the king used to go to the city of Viprajata, accompanied by a friend whose name was Dhumana. Purport. The 2 names Khadyota and Avirmukhi mean glowworm and torchlight. This indicates that of the 2 eyes, the left eye is less powerful in its ability to see. Although both eyes are constructed in one place, one is stronger than the other in the power to see. The king or the living entity uses these 2 gates to see things properly, but he cannot see unless accompanied by a friend whose name is Dhumana. This friend is sun. Although the 2 eyes are situated in one place, they have no power to see without the sunlight. Viprajitam Janapadam. If one wants to see something very clearly, Viprajitam, he must see it with 2 eyes and the assistance of his friend, the sunlight. Within this body, everyone is a king because he uses his different gates according to his own will. Although he is very much proud of his power to see or hear, he is nonetheless dependent on the assistance of nature. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop it here. Thank you so much for joining today's session. Hare Krishna Pandana Priya Prabhu and Padma Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji ka pranam.
Hare Krishna Maitri Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam. Mukti Mataji and Jagannath Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Pushkala, thank you so much. Tarsina Mataji, Advaita Pranam Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Sagar Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you so much for वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। रत्ना श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। We'll meet again on at the same time. Hare Krishna. Thank you, sir.